So, welcome everybody. Welcome again to tonight's episode of the New England Medical Cannabis Seminar and Support Group, right here in our very own Country Wellness Center in North Stonington. Again, we have the honor of welcoming Chef Thomas, Iron Chef Thomas Hunold,
Thank you for allowing us back again.
and Ibn-Hashim Bakari of Harmless Health.
Thank you,
So
Doc.
thank you very much, guys, and tell us what you have in store for us tonight.
But so tonight, Chef Thomas actually took a twist with a classic clam casino and incorporated a Bloody Mary mix that he made of his own. So this is the finished product. I will grab a couple of the items, but I'm gonna let Thomas actually tackle this because I mean, he went into chips and dips and all kind of things over here. So take it away, Thomas.
Yeah, Chef Thomas has been busy. We can see that.
Yes, I don't stop. There's no reason for me to stop.
Have we medicated these yet?
Oh, no, we're about to.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not medicated. Well, definitely not with cannabis, but with Tito's vodka, absolutely. So today, in Rhode Island, we're big on seafood. It's our thing. I remember being a kid going on a boat with my uncles, and they would pull the rake, and I would have to be in the front, sizing them up, make sure to throw the ones back, the clams, little necks, top necks, count necks, whatever they were, and we would eat them fresh right there on the boat. And it's just something about when you open that up, and it reminds you of summer. The first, I think I've explained this before, of summer. That first day, where you can actually run into the water and you can taste that saltness, and it's like, oh shit, that's Rhode Island. You know what I mean? You can actually taste it. Like, man, that's where I belong. So what I've done is a traditional clams casino. A lot of people will use, white wine. So I made a Bloody Mary mix with Tito's vodka, V8 Worcestershire, a horseradish cream sauce, and some fresh lemon in there as well. I poured that on top of our fresh clams that we got from, where we get those from?
We got those from Anchor Seafood in Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Great seafood place. They have a great product, great purveyor. I stand by their product because we've used some of their products out here in Connecticut. We brought it out here. So I made my own breadcrumb too. Usually in an Italian way, they just use an Italian seasoned breadcrumb. I like a nice crisp to it, so I've used a quarter of the breadcrumb, a quarter of the panko, and I've gotten Cape Cod potato chips, the salt and vinegar. That speaks New England to me. Incorporated that, put that on top, and got fresh Parmesan cheese and pancetta. A lot of people use the bacon for the fat, but the pancetta adds a different level of flavor.
Yes.
And just like you would see your Bloody Mary, a lot of them you'll have like a shrimp or an olive or a piece of celery. I've done that here as well. So I'm gonna hand these out right now.
Actually.
Well, actually, I'm gonna put them right up here, and Ibn's gonna start medicating this. And this is where he's going to, even though it's already medicated, like I said, with the Tito's vodka, but that's the thing is, a lot of people, they think that it's hard to, incorporate cannabis into that everyday life. And if you want to go into detail, where you want to do carb in your house, turn it into whatever equipment you're going to use, either isolate or a distillate, whatever your method is, it does take a little bit of time. But Ibn has everything. Let me tell you, everything. And this right here is your hemp product. This is your CBD.
And when you talk about decarboxylating, that is what essentially what you're doing is you're taking the plant material and you're putting that in the oven to now open it up to activate those terpenes, the cannabinoids in the product. So I always like to just have visual aids for folks to be able to understand, when you're talking about these terms, a lot of folks are like, wow, it's starting to sound way too scientific. And you're like, tone it down a little bit. And it was like, well, how about a visual aid? So it was like, you take this and then you put this on a cookie sheet. You place this in your oven. So there's a process to it. One of the things that has made it easier for us to do what we do in the industry is talking with the labs, talking with the cultivators, and finding out better ways to be able to make this usable for folks that are at home. And then even in the restaurant industry, everything in the restaurant industry is fast moving. And so you can't be doing all of that scientific stuff in the back. So today, or actually what we've been using is a CBD beverage enhancer. And don't go by the term beverage, because this is actually a multi-use CBD product that we're going to use to infuse this. Now, I wanted to have that shown around. Sure. And this is for you folks at home to see. This is a 1 ounce bottle. There's 300 milligrams that's in this bottle. It has about 30 servings. So doing the simple math, you're looking at 10 milligrams per dropper full that will go, that I will use to medicate this. If a person was more of like a 20 or 30 or 40 milligram person, then now we would add that. So it's on the individuals to start better understanding their milligrams with cannabis so that they know where their tolerance level is so that they don't have a bad experience. And I'm sure that at a raise of a hands, we've all have had a bad experience in our life.
They're fun going through.
Well, all depends on just how much you had. So basically, you know, a simple dropper full is already measured out. And it doesn't take away from the taste of what Chef Thomas just explained to you, what went into this meal. I'm going to go ahead and let you handle the rest of these.
So that's CBD from hemp with negligible THC, what they're putting on there, just FYI. So you should not have any issues with this at all.
Can we hand these out?
Yeah, of course.
For you at home to be able to see this. And we also got to look. Yeah, we also got to look out for the camera. You know, we also got to look out for the camera guy.
Gabe's like,
a little Bloody Mary mix on top, just to actually taste the Bloody Mary mix.
Thank you.
Come on, Doc. Go ahead and dive in there.
Gladly. Looks fabulous. So tell us again.
Bon appetit.
Thank you, Chef Thomas. What was in that sauce, the Bloody Mary sauce?
So the Bloody Mary sauce, I used Worcestershire, Tito's vodka, V8, the spicy V8. I like a nice kick in it. Fresh lemon juice, and also I used a creamy horseradish. And I just blended it up, and that's where you're gonna get layers of flavor right about now.
It sounds
that
amazing.
right there is just a regular crostini on the side to add something to the plate where you can actually taste the Bloody Mary mix. So you might want to really bite into that.
Very good.
Good, right?
So is this a happy hour treat? Or is this
Basically.
happy hour?
Happy hour.
Happy hour.
Yes. No, I don't want you to go to sleep, not whatsoever. I want you to stay in the restaurant, keep ordering food and keep ordering drinks. I want you to be alive.
We do apologize the fact that we're only really just kind of like tantalizing your palate with one, because I'm sure that you could probably go through a half a dozen, if not a dozen of these on your own. These are good.
Right? Nice. When they're good is when you see me doing that little dance, rocking back and forth. That's when you know it's good. Nice. So a dozen of these, yeah, easy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot has to do with your seafood purveyor, you know, where you're getting your food. You know, quality will definitely speak over, you know, garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a quality product.
Oh my God.
On point.
On point.
I think you get that little bit of pancetta too instead of the bacon. Yeah. You can do it with any kind of shellfish. You know what I mean? Like, it's endless when it comes to food and cannabis. Especially now that this product is out, you can do anything you want to do with food. You know, you just have to be creative. And I think I was explaining that earlier. I'm pretty creative as is, but cannabis helps me be more creative. So, you're like, oh wow, I know how that would align with this. You know, basically the Bloody Mary, which a traditional, not I think everywhere, but more so on Rhode Island, especially during brunches. Like people go nuts for it. And then why not incorporate it with something else traditional? You know, Claims Casino.
It's fabulous. Really, guys. Wonderful.
Folks don't actually see the work that goes into preparing a dish like this, you know.
A lot of people, they watch, you know, the kitchen shows or whatever show that I'm doing, and like, oh wow, that looks so easy, or he's able to explain it like I am right now. I'm sorry, but in the back of the house, and when you have like 40 tickets in for you, and listen, I can't explain nothing. I just need you to cook. And then we send out, but we still accommodate, but it's much different setting opposed to this and being real life. So there's a lot of work that goes into even a regular party. Even like if you had 20 people, it's still a lot from, you know, to execution to, you know, the entrees all the way back to, you know, your appetizers, your salads, whatever it is, it has to be executed correctly. There is a lot.
Any questions?
Are there restaurants in Rhode Island that are doing this now?
Oh no, I'm saying peace. Hey,
Oh, peace.
here I am. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
We have done it successfully, not just in Rhode Island, but in
Massachusetts
as well. Other places are coming up, and Ibn and I have developed this relationship where it came out of nowhere with the yin and the yang, and we work so well together. The biggest event that we've done so far was out in Berkeley for 180 people, sit down dinner, 3 courses. And you know, out there is a little bit different. We did use some CBD product, but we are able to use THC. So that's what, you know, what we did. When we were in Rhode Island, you know, we used the CBD product. When we were here at the Cannabis seminar, we also used CBD product. And this right here, this helps out too, as far as, you know, I think bringing in the health department and regulations due to, as he explained earlier, the process of decarb and everything in the back of the house. You're going to need much more equipment. They're going to want to bring their scientists in and investigate. But if I can go just like this with paperwork, and all I'm doing is adding it to food, just like alcohol, if somebody wanted a double shot of vodka, you know, I know exactly how many milligrams are going to each dish.
Yep.
It's legal.
It's wonderful.
Anybody want seconds?
Johnny, do you want one?
Okay. All right. It's happy too. I'm telling you, a lot of people, if you make food, I try and tell any of my cooks that come in and you're having a bad day, one of my things is to alleviate that. Let me make you happy, because as soon as that person turns on that flame, he turns it on with a certain energy. As soon as he puts that saute pan down, he puts it down with a certain energy. The server that's watching him knows, oh my God, that's a different energy. If you put love into it, your guest will taste it. If you put heartache or negativity into that, your server is going to pick that up, and she's going to be hesitant on to deliver this to the guest. And what she does is go like this. That guest already felt it before tasting the food, so that energy is already there. So whenever you do it with love, you know, even if it's mopping a floor, just do it to the fullest that you can possibly do.
Intention is everything.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Some of us are trying very hard to make it move to a better frequency.
Yes.
Any other questions? I'm sure that you guys have questions, burning questions. I know we had some conversations prior to this, but by all means, shoot your questions. This is an opportunity for you to be able to learn, to be able to put some myths to aside, because there's a lot of information that is out there.
When you added
Excuse me.
For the TV.
Oh, okay. Look, when you add CBD to a food item that is warm, does it deteriorate any of the dosage at all? Like,
No, it doesn't. There's a boiling point for the cannabinoids. I have heard that the numbers are actually a little bit different from what I have initially had read and studied. So I think that it's still something that is being researched as to the different boiling points. But for a perfect example, I know that the great thing about what we're doing is we're medicating at the very end for two reasons. One, so that we don't degrade the dosage, and then also we're making sure that we're tailoring it to the individual. So a lot of times when we do our events, we do have everybody kind of generalize at one specific milligram, and we have been successful with at least administering that to all of the folks and not receiving any reports of anyone having a bad experience. And then as we continue to move in this, we have found that THC and CBD both work together. And I have found from personal experience that if I have, say I've had too much THC in my system, I can counteract it with CBD to bring it down. So now I know to actually, like, for our dinners, we may start off with like a 3-course. We may start the appetizer off with a THC. Then we may do your main course with a CBD. And then we may finish you off with a THC dessert at the end so that you kind of have that balance. So you may go from 50 milligrams of THC to 25 milligrams of CBD, so that you now have kind of like a 1-to-2 or 1-to-1 ratio.
Just like a roller coaster ride. The same thing with, the palate. Like, oh wow, what was that? Oh wow, what was that? Just think about that experience, not only just with food, but now with your relief,
And Thomas has actually come up with a great concept where we were doing a CBD infused palate cleanser between each dish, so that you would cleanse your palate, so that now you're prepared for the next meal, so that you can taste that second meal, that third meal, or if it's a 5-course, you're able to taste all of the different meals. I mean, we continue to say that in our society, we don't really enjoy our meals. It's like we're eating and running. And it's like, filling a void versus like, are you really like tasting the freshness? Are you tasting that love? I think we all taste love in foods that we do have. And that's the reason like we love going to grandma's for dinner. We love going to our mother who cooks, or our grandfather or our father that grills. It's like, it's those things that draws us. I look at food, I look at music are probably one of the 2 primary things that bring people together. No matter what your politics are, that music and food can turn a conversation into something beautiful.
Yeah. And then to add cannabis to it.
So the CBD oil that you were showing us earlier with the dogs or animals.
I was just curious. So the CBD oil, I know you can use what we would use on our pets, but is it the same as the pet CBD, the same as what is prepared for humans? I'm just curious, is it just a dosage that's...
Dude, that's actually a pretty good question. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it wouldn't. It has to be something different in it, just like dog food versus human food.
But we also see dogs eating human food.
True. So I don't know.
And when I look at the ingredients, I look to see that there's really no big difference between the tinctures for us humans and the tinctures for pets.
Okay.
I think that the idea is just more so like there is actually now a medication for dogs that's involving marijuana, because they have some of the same organs, receptors that the human body has.
So it's the same consistency or the same percentage, it's just the dose that's smaller.
It would be yes. I mean, obviously now I have seen where the milligrams have been adjusted because you actually have racehorses that are being administered CBD tinctures. And so now you're talking about, 1,200 pounds, so now you're talking about something that needs a higher dosage because of its, exactly. So yes, it does become a breakdown of the size because, you got little dogs, you got medium, you got large dogs. So you're not going to give the same amount to one that's 10 pounds and one that's 50 pounds.
Is there any connection between this product that you're showing us and shrinking tumors in animals?
I can't really speak on that because research is still being done.
Okay.
So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I know what has been proven to shrink tumors. This is fungi, a mushroom. It's called turkey tail. Turkey tail, you can get that anywhere. You can make a tea out of it, and that's up and coming. And we've actually done a segment with, adding the turkey tail, turning into a cocoa tea, and adding CBD to that as well. So you're actually doubling, the health benefits. And also, you can do it. So if you get a CBD oil, I know turmeric. Turmeric is great for pets. You can make your own turmeric oil, which helps anti-inflammatory. That's a lot of the reasons why, they're achy to walk down the stairs or whatever. But now you can just double that chance by making your own product at home and with the CBD product. And now, see what happens. It's all up to your pet, how your pet takes to it, and the same thing with our bodies.
We actually have natural foods that actually have health benefits already outside of cannabis. And the reason why I mention that is like in my hand, what I'm holding is what chocolate comes from. It comes from cacao. Right. And it is now, from my research, I found that cacao in its natural form, organic, it has 40 times the antioxidants of a blueberry. So here's something that can actually help you with antioxidants. And it's like, okay, well, where do you get it? Cacao is only grown in 12 countries, and it's all the countries that are along the equator line. That's where cacao grows. I happen to get this cacao from the Dominican Republic, and this particular product is actually for brewing tea. The tea tastes just like chocolate. It doesn't have the sweetness to it because we all see milk chocolate and that's something that has additives to it. But when you actually start getting into natural organic chocolate, it comes from this. So I wanted to share that with you guys so that you can at least see that, because that's also another product that Harmless Health is actually trying to bring, to the market, to the industry. Especially with us now transitioning from summer to fall to winter, we're going to start consuming more hot beverages because it's New England. Oh, come on.
I bet you if I passed out a glass of the Bloody Mary mix, we'd all be talking.
I have a question. I have another
Yes,
one.
go right ahead.
Okay, the way it's grown, obviously no pesticides, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? No pesticides. And it obviously is genetically modified, though, in order to produce different strains, right? So, okay.
The best way, not to cut you off, but to best answer your question, again, I like visual aids because it helps people to better understand. This, what I'm holding in my hand, is the lab results test for, say, this particular CBD product here.
It's like your MSDS sheet, kind of.
And the great thing about that, and especially with us traveling across state lines, is, you can't tell the difference between THC and CBD flower. So if you can't tell, how is law enforcement supposed to be able to tell? So I do my due diligence when traveling in the event that there is a pullover that this is still in the original package that it came in. That is the lab results that is associated with it. And it also has the same barcode as that particular paperwork that is right there. So in the event that there is a question or ask, this is the type of information that you should have. But it's also important to have that information to know what's in there. When you're talking about pesticides, when you're talking about mildew, when you're talking about, spider mites or infestation, these are the type of things that can happen to a cultivation. I've had the pleasure of being around several cultivators. I've been in their rooms. So I see the meticulousness that goes into cultivating. And once it goes to the lab, it helps folks like myself, Thomas, Dr. Pecher, in knowing that we're giving a product that actually has been tested. It has a paperwork that's behind it. I mean, we live in a society where it's about cover your ass with paperwork.
So is that part of the product that you're going to be selling now?
Yes. I will sell it as it is, but then also I'm looking at having it medicated as well.
This product, that just soaks like a tea, or that dissolves?
No, you actually would need like a French press.
Okay.
But I will also be offering it in tea bags as well.
So to the question about cancer-fighting properties, we actually know that THC itself is a cancer-fighting agent and has been identified by the National Institute of Health as such. And there's plenty of data there. So anecdotally, of course, because we aren't allowed to prescribe that here in Connecticut, THC as such and dosage for patients, anecdotally, we've seen a lot of cancers go into remission, and some pretty aggressive forms, surprisingly enough, like widespread cancer. A lot of patients have gone on the Rick Simpson oil protocol, and it's been pretty marvelous. So I would encourage everyone to educate themselves and look this up, and go on to YouTube and look up Rick Simpson oil protocol and read about this. It's fascinating and amazing that we haven't looked into this sooner. So.
Do you have any other new products that you haven't shown us yet?
I don't believe I have. I've kind of slowed down in the month of August, but I'm sure that, before the year is out, there'll be something new that comes, or 2020, I'm sure that there will be something new.
I have access to a lot of bombs and socks if you're interested in that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
have the same kind of diligence on paperwork applied.
well, seeing that some of you are new. See, some of the folks are new, so they haven't really had an opportunity to. Yeah, might as well hand, to at least just, see. Oh, we got a lot of different things that we can hand out to see, what products are out there on the market so that they can see, what is there. When you're talking about cannabis, cannabis is pretty much from topicals to oral to even a breath spray to your flower to your vapes. I'm like, it's pretty much the gamut. I mean, I was even reading, actually, Thomas was the one who actually gave me the idea about making cannabis bath bombs. Be like, who knew?
Cannabis helps out.
Cannabis
It's
what? Bath
creative.
salts?
What's that?
Did you say cannabis bath salts?
Bath bomb.
Bath bomb? What is that?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Gasoline, myrcene, all those things.
Well, I try. Well, of course, I'm a guinea pig of a lot of the things that I make. So Of course, I actually gave myself I gave myself a nice foot soak with this, and my feet felt brand new. And I was like, okay, I'm like, this is nice.
With Epsom salts?
Yes, there's actually Epsom salt, baking soda, cornstarch, and then I actually use the coconut oil infused oil to add to it, and then along with the fragrance to give it a little bit of a nice smell.
When you had your feet inside the little bath bomb thing,
Mhm.
and it was feeling good, did you happen to be rolling flower and smoking that, and has that helped it out, or it was actually just that?
No, it was just that. I mean, I did have me a nice glass of wine there because I knew that was going to be about a 30-minute, foot soak. So I did get myself comfortable, made sure that I had my cell phone right there, and I just sat there and relaxed. Oftentimes, again, we live in a society, our society is one of the fastest societies in the world. And we just constantly are just running. And we have a tendency to not take time out for ourselves until we go to the doctor, and then the doctor tells you, like, you got to slow down. So, this conversation that we're having, these items, these are things that can be used on a daily basis to help you with your mood. I find myself, I am not as aggressive as I used to be because when I'm medicated, I'm just much more calmer. A lot of times I forget the argument that I might have been in with somebody or that was about to lead to an argument. So, do yourself a favor, continue to do your research, and continue to just be proactive about your health and well-being.
The bag man.
Hurry up. No.
So what is this exactly?
That is a disposable CBD cartridge.
Okay, so that would go in a vape.
Yep, that's
Okay,
a vape.
all right. And then this moisture recovery cream.
Yes,
So what would this do for someone?
Avon has nothing on that.
that's right.
Avon has nothing.
Well, they don't have nothing on it right now.
Right now.
Don't think that Avon will not try to jump into this industry. And that's one of the things too, Dr. Pecher, that, one of the things that we're seeing, you're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs are able to take advantage of this new market that we have, which is the cannabis industry. But at the same time, you have a lot of the big corporations and businesses that are out there that are now starting to see profit margins that are dropping. And so they're looking at trying to see how they themselves can enter this industry. I mean, they have the equipment and the capacity to do it. So it's almost like, do I take $10 million, $20 million to build like this bottling facility for this particular product when you already have several companies that have that machinery readily available to come? So the mom and pops are the backbone of this country. And so I hope that we're able to continue to thrive and be able to at least get a piece of the pie of this industry while our federal government is continuing to try to figure out how it's going to regulate it.
Amazon will take it over. Amazon is selling all of it.
I mean, that's why we don't see, the JCPenney's or the Sears around. Kmart's are gone. We had a local favorite, Benny's, that is no longer. Well, the consumer did. And you know what? I think that all of us here are guilty in some form or fashion where I can literally go on this phone and I can have my package tomorrow or in 2 days and not have to worry about the parking. I don't have to worry about the crowds. I mean, it really has become about convenience. But it also scares me that we also are kind of like becoming more antisocial. Are you antisocial?
Certain venues, perhaps. But I think people are also getting more social with social programs like we have at the farm.
Mm-hmm.
There has been such tremendous interest hanging out with the animals, growing a hemp crop.
Yep.
You know, tending to the hemp crop, but also community sewing circle. We're coming back to that now. It's just not in the shop.
No, no.
You know, we're doing it in a different way.
And that's why we applied it. Yeah, we apply it to what we do when we do our private dinner events. You know, the rule is, you know, no cell phones on the table. We know that you have to have your cell phone, but no cell phones on the table. You know, we make sure that the table is set for family style eating so that you can actually network and talk to the person that's across the table from you, the person that's right next to you, while you're enjoying your meal, while you're medicating. You know, it's like it is becoming a social area and place that folks are like, you know what, I really like that concept. You know, we have a concept that we are looking at next month where we would like to do like a paint and puff event where it's like, okay, it's like have an artist to come in, you know, being able to medicate, you know, let those creative juices flow on that canvas. And being able to just enjoy each other's company, you know, even if it's just for 2 hours, at least it's giving you an opportunity to do self-care. And also see if you know, reventure if you got a hidden talent that you may have lost from when you were a kid. Okay, I'm done talking.
I did have one comment to follow up on what you said, Dr. Pecher. I was out in Oregon, and I went to a meeting at a firehouse, and there were about 60 people there around a bunch of tables that were set up in a horseshoe, and not a single soul was under the age of 50. The whole reason they were there was to trade, swap cannabis, and they were doing it in a town facility. So we've come a long way. But we got ways to go. But I think you're right. Bringing people together is the way to make it all work.
Mm-hmm.
They say that in a disaster, you need to know who your neighbors are.
True
We have
indeed.
problems around here. We need to know who our neighbors
Any other questions? Any other? I don't think I have anything else I could show you. I mean, I have plenty up here, but that's
What's
it.
been selling the best for you, out of curiosity?
You know, flour is always is a seller. You just have you have your folks that are just old school, want my flour, and that be it. However, I'm getting a lot of folks that are converting over to vaping because now they either have to go and medicate in the garage or in their basement or they got to be out on the back porch. Whereas, you know, or when folks do it in their vehicles, you know, now you forget that, okay, you smell like a skunk and everybody knows what you did. You know, everyone knows your business. You know, so folks are just, you know, starting like now better see and understand like, hey, you know, I got my tincture that I can actually hit in my coffee in the morning. I have my vape that I can have before I go into work. You know, it's like medicating with cannabis can be done responsibly and professionally. And that's what's ultimately coming. But the flower is probably by far the biggest seller. But then now as folks are becoming a little bit more astute of the fact that, well, if you smoke flower, you're only looking about at a maximum of 2 hours before you start to decline and then you have to light up again. Whereas when you have an edible, you can actually get 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. Those time periods are based on the milligrams that you actually ingest. The scary part that folks don't like is that it takes 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. I think I've even heard someone say it took 3 hours before they felt something and then they already took 2 doses. So their night was a very interesting night, to say the least, but they lived to tell about it.
Perfect. And are you guys still working with Dorothy?
I haven't been talking with her. I know that she had gone to Puerto Rico and she asked me to give her a call when she came back. So I have not been out to New York due to being busy just in Rhode Island.
Yeah, yeah, it's popping up, all of these little
Everywhere.
CBD slash
Out there in
cannabis
New York, I
popping
think they actually it's right now it's illegal for CBD to be added to the food.
It is illegal.
Illegal
Illegal.
from the Department of Health.
This is
So
this is
a
from the Department of
holding
Health.
pattern.
So right now, New York is somewhat on hold. So
Just New York?
what's that?
Just only New York?
Massachusetts, I believe,
yeah.
is also, their Department of Health has stepped in and kind of putting a hold on it because they themselves still don't understand it. And then because the FDA is now reviewing it and have already stated, like, we don't like the fact that these companies are making these claims that it can help with anxiety, it can help with depression, it can help with this. There's not enough research to validate what you guys are saying. So we have to kind of go through this period of research that needs to be done, but yet we're still seeing CBD shops are popping up, or establishments are offering CBD products to the general public because there is still no license that you need or have to have in your possession in order to sell it or distribute it, because the federal government has said that it's legal in 50 states. But the FDA is like, well, nah, you guys can't do this. So it's like, well, how are we supposed to know what to do when our own government is like, well, one hand said one thing and now another one has stepped in and saying another. And so it's been like that for the last, at least for me, 11 years with the laws and the rules that are changing on the state side. But now we have to deal with that level of the federal government.
Yeah, I've been following this along too, and one of the things that gets in the way is they want to call CBD a medicine.
Or a supplement.
And a medicine, well, a supplement is different from a medicine. The medicine, there's all kinds of dosing requirements that are in the FDA regulations. So if they're saying it's a medicine, then they have to follow that rule book. That's their line of thinking. So yeah, you can't put medicine in food anymore. You can put penicillin in a popsicle. But that goes back to the argument, is it a medicine or is it a supplement? I mean, GW Pharmaceuticals has registered a patent on their medicine. But does that mean all the other strains of hemp are medicines just as that one is, or are they different? Are they supplements?
And that's why we're trying to help those individuals in power to better regulate this. It can be done responsibly. It goes back to the cultivator being able to give the best product, the labs being able to test and make sure that the product is clean. Once we then have those numbers, it allows our job to be easier to like now do the math of microdosing. So it's not a whole lot of brain to it. It's just more so just trying to help them to understand it. Now, I don't know what hands we have to grease. I'm sure that we're going to have to grease some hands. But ultimately, I don't see that that they're going to be able to stop this movement.
What they're looking for is to control the efficacy, to make sure it meets purity standards, just as they do for supplements too. So, yeah, it's a battle over which way they're going to control it from. But they're trying to stick to it. At least that's my impression of it.
No, I think the corporate was looking at it, thinking that should be ours.
We just talked about that.
We just said.
We put the live TV on and you had that conversation.
Big Pharma, when they all go to jail for the opioids.
Well,
Yes.
was it just reported in the news today that the company that made the, what's that? Purdue? Yes, Purdue, that they're looking at having to pay something like $10 to $20 billion for being kind of like the fall company for the opioid crisis that we're currently in.
Yeah, that was another one.
Not nearly enough for what has happened.
No.
No, not even close.
Excellent.
This is the kinder, gentler way.
Yes.
Yes. less side effects. Also helps with weight loss. Well, see, that's where everybody's like, I actually just posted on social media an article about how cannabis is linked to weight loss. And it's like, I was like, no, I have to read this because there's just no way, because I know that I have like put pounds of food away and after medicating. Well, I mean, hey,
So that means the more cannabis, the more great food that I cook. So you'll never have to worry about putting on pounds. So we'll see you here every single month.
But it also helps to have the right type of food around as well.
Yeah.
I'm a crunchy granola since 1970.
Sorry, what's that?
I'm a crunchy granola since 1970.
Crunchy granola.
Perfect.
Old hippie.
He has something for that crunchy.
No, it's a personality trait. It's not that I do granola now.
Well, I always try to make sure, like right now, grapes. I keep grapes in my fridge because, you know what? You get that cotton mouth. You get that dry eye syndrome, and it's like, all right, I need to hydrate. So those grapes, watermelon, melons, those are water-based. So they help quench my thirst. They kind of also help expand my belly. And then I stay away from the potato chip cabinet or the Twinkies. But I don't get Twinkies anymore.
No?
I used to. No, oatmeal cookie was what was my sin. Yeah, that was my sin.
Maybe in the next segment we can do some deep fried Twinkies. Who knows?
What did you say? Deep fried Twinkies?
Yeah.
How do the cookies sell? Are people buying cookies?
Buying cookies? Yeah, the folks buy cookies. Yeah.
I just think it's a neat idea.
It's one of those items that, because I'm not adding preservatives to it, very short shelf life. So it's so a lot of the items that I'm making, I make to order so that, the folks is getting it fresh. Me trying to mass produce things, that's when you now start having to throw additives into it for it to for its shelf life. Like there was a client here from last month that still have product that they purchased from me and was asking me about the shelf life. And I was like, well, I wasn't expecting you to have it for a month. I thought you were going to, consume it, but that's the other thing, stick it in the freezer. That's what I find myself doing with some of my products, where I'm like, you know what, too much humidity in this kitchen, stick it right in the fridge or stick it right in the freezer.
Bread reheated after freezing is pretty close to what it was the day you put it in. Not too many other products stay that way.
Like I have some caramel popcorn that I made in the Dominican Republic that I brought back July 1st. I keep it in the refrigerator. I just cracked open a bag before I came here today, and it was just as fresh as it was when I made it in the end of June.
Is that when you brought the 12 pounds of popcorn on the plane?
Yes, 12 pounds of popcorn on the plane.
12 pounds of cannabis popcorn right on the plane.
Hey, like my munchies. I got the munchies.
In your carry-on bag?
Actually, yep. First year I did put it in my carry-on bag, and then I put it in my check bag this year.
Did they give you a sanity check at the gate?
What? It's just popcorn.
But when you go through the screen, it's like, oh my God, what's this guy?
No, not at all.
Likes popcorn.
Not at all. They may have. Well, you know what? They actually got me when I took I took a 10-pound bag of jewelry that had me at 55 pounds. So I had to take it out of my check bag and go through with my carry-on. And they pulled me over and was like, "Are you in the jewelry industry?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I am."
Yeah, you're in the popcorn industry.
I was like, but it was like, this guy is hauling back chocolate, popcorn, jewelry. Like, what's going on? Be like, hey, I got volunteers. I got to take care of my people. And along with my sweet tooth. Well, I also love the fact that The caramel is coming from the fresh sugar cane. The molasses is coming from that sugar cane. So the molasses that's used to make the caramel for me to make that popcorn is bar none the best that I've ever had. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm only coming once a year, so I need to bring back 12 pounds so that I can get through the year until I come back and then I re-up. Yes, ma'am.
Your product that's in the little eyedropper. It's flavorless.
Flavorless.
So it goes on anything that you're cooking.
You cook, beverage.
Margarita, you can put it in a
You
margarita.
can put it in your margarita. Yes,
So
yes, you can.
We were the first restaurant in Rhode Island to do this at 210 Oyster Bar and Grill, to add CBD to an alcoholic beverage. And it worked out very well.
I did the
So-
training for the staff to help them to better understand what CBD is. I gave them a packet so that they could have that, because folks in the restaurant were asking like, what is that? What did I just hear that they ordered? And now folks are like, well, can I try one? And that was back, that was in November 2018.
So 420 beer will have a new additive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is right here is by far like a universal. This is like my go-to for anything and everything, because again, it's simplified. You know what your dosage is going to be on each pull. And I mean, from cocktails to the food, I mean, you guys have been seeing this now for the last, what, 5 segments?
Probably 5
Yeah, because I brought this back in April, I believe. Yeah, I brought this back in April. So
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so
Very
much, Dr.
informative,
Pecher.
Fantastic session.
Thank you so
everyone
much.
for coming. Thank you.
Please.
Oh,